Ride the bus with friendly neighbors like us. You ride with a professional chauffeur, and you will go for the lack of parking bus. Convenience on wheels, how great it feels to relax and ride the bus.
Hey, you know what? I think we're live. Amazing as it seems.
What?
We are live. We had a little difficulty getting on the air tonight.
Lies.
It's mostly Drew's fault.
Yeah, of
is
course.
what we figured out. So we thank you all for your patience as we get tonight's presentation going. And I gotta hit two things at once, which never goes well.
I will be the same.
Here we go.
Here we go.
East Coast Horror Group.
Meow?
They're here.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
East Coast Horror Group presents Dead Eye Movie Reviews.
Salutations and mutilations! You're listening to East Coast Horror Group presents Dead On Movie Reviews. Tonight, we present horror movie reviews and lively debate here on EastCoastHorrorGroup.com and on future select Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join our live chat at that time by clicking on live shows and join us on our YouTube live sheet. Well, that's no good. There we go. But you do have to join us on the YouTube page to join the chat. I'm your host, Tim Kretschmann, coming to you from the East Coast of Lake Michigan, and it's my honor to introduce the Faculty of Fear panel presenting tonight's lectures. So let's start with our new guest tonight. Oh, wait a minute. Why is that still on? Let's turn that off. Mike is off vacation. Okay. So we're going to start with our new panelist. Everything's going crazy tonight. Sandy Stuhlfire. She is a Pittsburgh native and a horror expert, joining us for the very first time here on Dead On Movie Reviews. Hello, Sandy.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on the program. We're very excited about tonight, and you have a very interesting movie we're going to get to talk about. But first, I have to introduce the rest of the Faculty of Fear. And he ain't great, but he's full of hate. He's Drew Seidler. Hello, Drew.
I think with the political climate, you should probably not say that I'm full of hate.
I'll think of something else. You know what? Let's just call him by his real name. He is our gingerific co-host. He's little baby Drew face Poos Seidler. So glad that you're with us tonight, Drew.
Thanks. I hate you.
Poos.
Fuck you, Mike.
Poos. All right. Last and least, we have the founder of the East Coast Horror Group, who's on top of his game when he ain't watching poop. He complains about action shots of a pool cleaner, which he does with his copyrighted surly demeanor. Some say about horror he is obsessed. I say it's only about that frickin' VHS. He's Coach that started this all, even though he sounds like Coach McGurk. He's the founder of VCHG, the Dean of Mean, and with zombies he's flirts. It's Coach Michael Exler. Welcome back from your vacay.
Sad that I'm back, but I'm here.
Well,
We're happy to have you back.
You'll survive. I don't know if we want to go that far. Do we?
No.
Okay. All right, we're going to start, and we had so much fun trying to get things started tonight. We didn't even discuss who's going to go first. So I am going to surprise somebody at random. And as you know, when I try to surprise people, who it's always going to be. So, Drew, what have you been watching? I know you're not
Tim,
ready.
Thanks for coming to me first. I appreciate that.
Coming in your mouth.
Whoa.
Wow.
Cheers.
Cheers? Cheers.
Cheers.
I'll drink semen to
I'm
that.
drinking to that.
It's getting weird.
So
Wait,
my film.
what time is it in the show? 8:21. Hey, we're not doing bad. All right, go ahead.
We've really only been on the air for like 82 seconds.
I think so.
Anyway,
But it's all been quality. Quality.
exactly.
All right.
If you remember, Tim, on the last Select Tuesday,
On the last Select Tuesday,
I had
we
a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of trouble being on the show, getting on the show. Something was just fucked up. Could you imagine, right?
Yeah,
have
we
trouble
never
with
have technical
something
issues. That never happens.
So I'm a little bit farther removed from the film. I don't know if that'll change my opinion on it any now. But I watched 2014 film Clown, starring Andy Powers, Laura Allen, and Peter Stormare. Directed by John Watts. I believe this is produced by Eli Roth. It doesn't really say his name anywhere on the IMDb page.
Really?
So, yeah.
That's because they would want the movie to be successful.
Probably a good reason for
You
that.
know what? He's successful. I don't know that his movies are any good, but he makes money with these things.
It's true. The second Hostel was better than the first, but I still...
Whores make money with their mouth, but it doesn't make it right.
Save that one. What was that at? I got that one. Let's see. That was at 13. Thanks, Mike.
Welcome.
I don't know what I have to say about that, to be honest. But yes, Clown, 2014. The premise of the film is basically just that, and I'm reading from IMDb. A loving father finds a clown suit for his son's birthday party, only to realize that it's cursed. Not exactly true, but the premise, I believe, is pretty terrifying, to be honest with you. It's really just a guy, like I said, puts on a clown suit and can never take it off.
So it's basically the Santa Claus, but about a clown.
Okay, I like that. Is that Tim Allen movie?
Yeah. He puts on the Santa Claus suit, and all of a sudden he's Santa Claus.
This is not nearly as family friendly, unfortunately.
I don't know. It's got some rough bits in Santa Claus.
Anyway, after they eat the reindeer. Anyway. So, yeah, he puts on the big red nose and,
Book me. I'm always down for a good penis fest.
That's true, I am. And, all the typical clown gear, and shows up to his son's birthday party.
Right.
And they even go through him trying to take it off with power tools and scissors and fucking hedge clippers and whatever you could try to possibly think of to get it off. He goes to the hospital. Now, through all of this stuff, how they don't realize what the fuck is happening is kind of a mystery to me. How do the doctors not realize that he honestly can't get this off? They just think he's an insane person. I would think that the staff would be trained to take that stuff a little more seriously. But I thought the really interesting part was that clowns, at least in this universe, came from these demons back in the day, and that's kind of what this is that it's
would
the
explain.
it's the skin of a demon,
Okay.
and that's why it's cursed. That's why you can't take it off, because he's trying to this demon is trying to find a new host. And I thought that was a cool spin on it. I would have liked to know a little bit more about the history of the suit and the clown in particular, or this demon in particular. I thought that would have made it a little more interesting. But as far as, because most demons that we think of The Exorcist, possession films, right?
Right.
And they usually have a voice, they usually have a purpose. As where you didn't really know. You left it all to a Morris the Explainer to kind of tell you what was going on, and I would have rather gone through it myself. It was 100 minutes long. Which is about an hour and 40 minutes, something like that.
Right.
And I mean, I was entertained the entire time. I found it to be pretty fucked up, to be honest with you, and just the way his family reacts and the things that he does. And the way his behavior kind of starts to change as the suit takes over. And, they could have done something with the red nose and made it more of a, I don't know, almost like an exploitation kind of a thing. but he pulls it off pretty quick, but it leaves a pretty horrible scar, which in my mind is more terrifying, to be honest. And the reason that they say that these clown demons had a red nose and the big smile is because they lived in a colder climate and their lips and nose would be chapped.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yep. And that the only they would come down from the hills and eat 5 children and then would go away.
A little Burt's Bees would help with that.
Only.
See, that's right. I don't think Burt's was invented yet, to be honest.
Okay. Now the five children, are these full-grown children? Are these infants? What's going on there?
I think anything under probably, I don't know, 18, I guess, as a child, right? I don't know if they have, some sort of age of consent or voting age or something in ancient demon clown times, but they weren't specific. It's young children.
Okay. Well, this is important as to how much protein you can yield off of it.
It's true. And I'm just spoiling the fucking movie left and right. But I mean, it's a movie about a clown. Big deal, right? I mean, nobody's gonna watch this movie for the plot, and you should. But that's the only way to cure the clown suit demon. That's how you get rid of it, is to eat 5 children.
Wait a minute.
Eat it, baby.
Yeah. Get in my belly.
Now, is that a spoiler? I think that's a spoiler.
It is a spoiler. But not really, because it kind of all just comes together at the end. With Morris the Explainer kind of telling you what happens, and him just becoming more and more feral, and, kids starting to disappear. All in all, I had a fun time.
Now, Morris the Explainer, did they hire Vincent D'Onofrio, or did somebody else come on?
No, it wasn't. I want to say it was somebody famous, but it's been so long since I watched it that I can't remember who it was.
Well, let's just say it was Vincent D'Onofrio for, just for consistency. Just for consistency.
It is Vincent D'Onofrio, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
But he played Gomer Pyle from
Full Metal Jacket. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Singing, "This is my rifle, this is my gun. This is for fighting, this is for fun."
He also played Thor, by the way. Do you remember that?
Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yeah.
If that's the same person as Liam Hemsworth, then yeah.
He played Thor in Adventures in Babysitting.
Yes.
He played
Holy
Thor.
Shit.
And he was a guy that looked just like Thor, the superhero. That was Vincent D'Onofrio.
And he was a jagoff.
Yeah, he was like a car mechanic or something, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let their car out because they were $2 short on their bill.
Yeah. No, great moments with Vincent D'Onofrio. Okay, I think it's probably time. So,
where's my $2?
Drew, what do you grade the film Clown?
I'm gonna give it a B.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I know
I'm amazed because every time you guys do this, I always try to predict the letter, and I actually got it right this time.
Oh, really?
Yes,
yeah.
I predicted a B.
I mean, IMDb has a 5.7 out of 10. Metacritic has a 42 out of 100. I don't know what they didn't like about it, to be honest. If you're a horror fan and you like to see, just disturbing imagery and a decent story, that's, check it out. It's good. It's a good hour and a half.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Drew. It was great to hear about Clown all the way through. That was nice. So, we are going to throw things over to Sandy next. Are you ready, Sandy?
I'm ready.
Okay, notice I ask her. I just throw it to Drew. But, okay, Sandy, tell us about your movie.
Okay, well, I would like to give your listeners a little bit of a history lesson in some ancient horror films. So I chose the film Asylum, which is a 1972 anthology produced by Amicus Films. Amicus was an English studio that produced films from 62 to 77, and they were primarily horror films, and they were kind of a contemporary of Hammer Studios. The the difference between the two is that Amicus did more of the anthologies, and they really wanted to be kind of a family-friendly studio, and Hammer did more of the gothic horror, and you had a lot of boobs and bush in Hammer movies that you didn't see in Amicus movies. So, but this was I thought this was a really interesting anthology. It was directed by Roy Ward Baker, who also directed Don't Bother to Knock, which was a film that featured Marilyn Monroe as a psycho babysitter. And the 1958 film A Night to Remember, which was about the Titanic and won a Golden Globe. And a couple of my favorites, The Vampire Lovers and Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. The film was written by Robert Bloch, who there are 4 short stories that he adapted. He actually wrote the novel Psycho that was the basis of the Alfred Hitchcock film Psycho.
It's one of my favorite authors. He also wrote a movie called a book called American Gothic, which is about H.H. Holmes, and
Yes.
I think that's the movie they should adapt, not Devil in the White City. But anyway, go on.
He's won a Hugo Award, Edgar Allan Poe Award, Bram Stoker Lifetime Achievement. A lot of his stories popped up on Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Thriller back in the old days. So there's a lot of big names behind this. Same thing with the cast. The cast features Barbara Parkins, who was big on Peyton Place, and also was in Valley of the Dolls. Peter Cushing needs no introduction.
Who's that?
He's that drawing you saw in Rogue One. He was the animated character.
He was a Holocaust. He was
a Holocaust survivor.
Hologram. All right. Too many neo-Nazi stories this week in our brain. That and
Peter Cushing was in the Holocaust. I never realized that until today.
And well, he was a Nazi zombie killer or whatever. Anyway, Britt Eklund is in this. She was married to Peter Sellers, and
was he in the Holocaust?
Had an affair with Rod Stewart. No, I don't think she was. And Herbert Lom, who is known as Chief Inspector Dreyfus in the Pink Panther film.
They don't look much more Aryan than Britt Eklund. Nobody's going to say, oh, she's Jewish. That's never going to happen.
Sorry, I got us on this path.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Sandy's a big anti-Semite. We all know that.
Oh, my God.
Holy crap.
Just pay no attention to Drew.
I mean, her last name has fire in it. Come on, dude.
Okay, wait, can I say something about my name? Because the way Tim pronounced it at the beginning, when we had Robert Zadar as a guest at Horror Realm, he used to stand at one end of the hall and yell, "Stillfire!" to get my attention, and he would do that on the phone to me too. It was really annoying. Okay. So, this movie clocks in at 88 minutes.
Stillfire!
Which is
we should probably roll the R. Should be like Stillfire. Fire.
Stillfire. That's a good German name, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Off that. All right, we're done with that.
Speaking of Germany.
Let's travel to England, where this film took place at Shepperton Studios.
Okay.
There are four.
You know who lives in England?
Excuse me.
Do you know who lives in England?
Nazis.
Do they? I don't know. You seem to know a lot about Nazis today.
Holocaust survivors like
Peter Cushing.
Oh my goodness! What I got myself into.
All right.
Okay.
Go on.
All right. There are four stories in this anthology. There's a wraparound story to it that has to do with a psychiatrist that comes to a home for the incurably insane. And part of his interview is that he has to go interview 4 patients and figure out which one of them used to be the head doctor at the asylum because they went crazy. the person that's in charge right now, that's directing him to do this, is Patrick McGee, who was the Mr. Alexander, the author in Clockwork Orange, whose wife is raped by the guys.
He was the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah. So he's actually in a wheelchair in this as well.
Is he in a wheelchair in real life?
I don't know.
Or he's just typecast as a paraplegic?
That could very well be. When you get up in age, that sometimes happens.
He's like, you're a great actor, but your legs are fucking awful. So in every film, we're putting you in a fucking wheelchair.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever did Rocky Horror.
He might have just been lazy. He's like, I don't want to walk.
He was getting up there in years. So the first person that he goes upstairs to meet is Bonnie. And that story is called Frozen Fear. And it's about a wife that confronts her cheating husband. And he murders her, chops her up, puts her in meat paper, and wraps her up in the paper and puts her in the freezer.
That's what happens. Don't go snooping around, bitches.
So then weird things begin to happen. I'm not going to do any spoilers here. And makes you wonder if it's really happening or if the guy's guilt is getting the better of him. His mistress comes over to meet him and finds him dead in the freezer. And then more weird things start to happen, and that's what drives her crazy and gets her into the asylum. So that's Bonnie's story, and that was Barbara Parkins from Valley of the Dolls. The second story is called The Weird Tailor. There is a tailor, he's kind of in some financial troubles, he can't pay his rent, and Peter Cushing comes in and asks him to make this special suit for him that's made out of this really weird glowing material that he wants to have made for his son. The wife doesn't want him to make it, but the guy says, I'm going to do it because I need the money. And so he goes and delivers it and gets into a fight with Peter Cushing and kills him, and then strange things begin to happen with the suit. So that's story number 2. And again, not spoiling anything so that people would hopefully go take a look at this, because it's really a good film, and it's good to see something from a previous era. I think it's a 66 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, but I like it. The third story is called Lucy Comes to Stay, and Charlotte Rampling is the person in this story. And Charlotte Rampling did a lot of stuff in British TV and movies, but most notably to our audience, she was Dexter's psychiatrist in the Dexter TV series. But she comes home from a hospital stay to find her brother hired a live-in nurse for her, and her mother takes ill and has to leave. And the brother takes her to this train station, and her friend Lucy shows up, and she actually made the call to get them out of the house, and she wants to just kind of cause mayhem and stuff. And she tries to convince her that her brother's going to have her declared incompetent and get her estate. So she's trying to kind of egg her on to kill her brother. Let's see. They find the brother the next morning stabbed with a pair of scissors, and she insists that Lucy did it, but they put her in the asylum. And the last one is kind of the most interesting of, I would say the Lucy story is the weakest of the 4. The last story is called Mannequins of Horror, with Herbert Lom, and he builds little robots with people's heads on them, and they're pretty lifelike. There's one that's actually of him, and he's telling the story to the psychiatrist that he wants to transfer his soul into the robot. And the psychiatrist is like, yeah, okay, see you later. Goes back downstairs and talks to the other guy and says, I don't think you're treating these people right. I don't think I want to work here. I don't know who the former doctor was, and I don't care. And all of a sudden, the little robot monster shows up and kills the guy in the wheelchair. And the doctor stomps on it, and guts come out, and he actually kills Herbert Lom upstairs because his soul did transfer. Then we come to the surprise ending. It's a little bit of a twist. We find out who the former doctor actually was, and the doctor that came to apply for the job is killed by that person. And then the story starts all over again because another doctor comes pulling up. So it's kind of it goes on and on and on and on. I like the movie. It's got good effects for that age. It's got pretty good cinematography. The score is pretty good in it. It's got some public domain, like Night on Bald Mountain orchestral music that really kind of helps set the mood or the atmosphere.
Yay!
That is correct. Atmosphere.
And so long story short, 4 stories, 88 minutes. It's worth a look. There are some other anthologies in the Amicus vault, such as Torture Garden, The House That Dripped Blood, The Vault of Horror, that you can also follow up on.
So, if you're a teacher and you're grading this, what grade would you give Asylum?
I give Asylum an A. I think it's a very good effort. It's got a lot of big names behind it in terms of direction and the writing and the stars. And for that time period, that was a big deal. And I think this, it's an interesting little storyline.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. And that's, I didn't know that was an anthology film. I always thought that was, and I thought it was a Hammer film as well. So,
Hammer and Amicus always kind of got confused. They had a lot of the same look to them.
Well, and having Peter Cushing, you just kind of assume that it's Hammer film. All right. Well, thank you very much. And we are now going to go over to Mike. Mike, what movie did you watch for tonight's spectacular episode?
I watched a 2012 film entitled Bigfoot. Now, this is a sci-fi film. Basically, the cast consists of everyone in the 1970s pop culture icons. So essentially, the 70s puked, and they came out to be this movie. We have. So let me see.
People watching the video version of this, I found so many memes and screenshots. It's really pretty funny. So, go on.
We have Danny Bonaducci, also Barry Williams, Sherilyn Fenn, Howard Hessman,
Hey!
Bruce Davidson, and rounding out the cast as a cameo, Mr. Alice Cooper.
So they had Willard in there, huh? Bruce Davison?
Yeah, he is actually also the director of this fine tale.
Okay. Well, from what I was able to find online, it seems like they took the story of Bigfoot and really tried to give it a dramatic review of what it actually is. And it seems quite terrifying. It seems terrifying.
No. Nope.
Was this Bigfoot? Or was it Sasquatch? Was it the Ohio Grassman? Who was this?
It was not the Snallygaster, I'll tell you that. It was the Bigfoot, but he was the size of King Kong for some reason. So, Bigfoots, they're usually about 8-9 feet tall, so the crazy people say. This thing was a good 30 feet tall, but sometimes it looked like maybe 20 feet tall. Let's just say the CGI was not good at all in this film.
Not awesome.
But it is an Asylum film, so anybody that's been around horror for any time or any length of period will know that the Asylum is probably one of the worst production companies since Hammer horror films. I had to throw that dig in there. Because they should have called that Ambien instead of Hammer horror.
Boom.
Wow.
But
Asylum is also the guys that make the Mockbusters, where they take a similar name and then make a movie. And that's
mean,
really their mainstay. They came out with like when what was it when Suicide Squad came out? They came out with something like Sinister Six or something, and put
Isn't
that
that
out.
how porn works?
Pretty much.
I wouldn't know,
Yes, pretty much.
Sandy.
I mean,
I never even heard. What is this?
I'm not advocating doing this, but I mean, if someone would release a flesh-eating virus in the Asylum studios, I think every horror fan would owe you at least $1 in, your court costs and such. Oh, I missed the gag reel in the bonus features, or the big features as they call it. Well, I'm going to have to put it back in to watch that. Basically, Danny Bonaducci is a radio DJ in some small little town in Deadwood, South Dakota, which is right near the Mount Rushmore. I don't know why Mount Rushmore had to be involved in it, but it was. But he's a radio DJ that wants to do a festival of
Lights, aka Hanukkah.
I'll
the 1980s.
actually I'll defend a movie. I can't believe I'm defending a movie, but Deadwood is right next to Mount Rushmore. I've vacationed out there, and that's all part of the Black Hills area.
Well, that's awesome. They got something right.
Yeah.
So he wants to do a celebration of the 1980s and have a huge concert. So in doing that, they need to level all this forest because they're expecting Sting doing a reunion with the police.
Sting likes you to cut down trees.
Yeah, all these people. Alice Cooper obviously is coming, and you come to find out that Danny Bonaducci has literally no one except for Alice Cooper, because he finagles him and lies to him basically to get him to come to this concert.
Now they
So-
said the 80s though, because Danny Bonaducci, his big career was 70s, Barry Williams 70s, and frankly Alice Cooper was probably bigger in the 70s than during the 80s.
Well, I didn't write it, so
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I was just checking. I was just
That
checking.
it was an 80s celebration. So
Okay.
within doing this, they awoken the Bigfoot by trying to cut down the forest. Barry Williams plays an individual who is what some would refer to as a tree hugger, and he wants to save the Bigfoot, and he wants to take him to a forest reserve so the Bigfoot can be studied and looked at and learned upon.
Aw.
So we find out that Danny Bonaducci and Barry Williams have this past. They were
course.
in the same band together in the 80s, and it really doesn't matter.
You know, they actually produced a hit song. Did you know that? I happen to have it right here.
Ugh.
You know that one?
Well, thanks, folks. I'm leaving. So the concert happens. There's probably 10 people at the concert. I don't think they had a lot of money for extras. Bigfoot comes, kills Alice Cooper, and kills everybody. Now the Bigfoot.
Wait a minute,
in this, like I
spoilers!
said, if you watch this, you need to fucking pull your eyeballs out with a spoon and kill yourself. The Bigfoot, like I said, he varies in size throughout the film. At one point, he's pretty much as tall as Mount Rushmore, and then at other points, he's just taller than a building. And for some reason, every time the Bigfoot moves, they make this sound effect of his feet hitting the ground and like shaking the ground to get to the point, that he's big. Like you can't see that he's big. And the sound effect is one of the most annoying things I've ever heard in my life, and totally distracting from anything going on the screen, because all you can hear is these footsteps, and it drowns out dialogue, it drowns out sounds, gunfire. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much exactly it, just a lot louder. So this Bigfoot has a penchant for picking people up and just biting their heads off, and then throwing the body away.
Actually, I think that's how the monsters kill people in the great video game Rampage.
Yeah, and then if they eat the one thing that they don't like, it spits fire. They go.
Right. When I was watching these little clips trying to find the stuff from this Bigfoot versus the 10 million other Bigfoot movies out there, which, yeah, thanks for that, by the way, Mike.
You're welcome.
It was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is Rampage. They made Rampage the movie.
Yeah, and Rampage was much better. So it just goes on that they're fighting this Sasquatch, this Bigfoot, whatever the hell it might be, and it comes to the end where there's a big fight scene on top of Mount Rushmore, and airstrikes are called in to eliminate said Sasquatch, while Barry Williams and Danny Bonaducci fight on top of Abraham Lincoln's head.
Couldn't they use Alice Cooper's guillotine? Take him out that way? Oh.
He's dead.
Well, that's sad.
And I just wanted to make mention, because I haven't talked about Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks.
Right.
She looks fucking terrible.
Oh, no.
Just to let you guys know. I looked at old pictures from her, because I wasn't born when she was famous. So I went back and looked at pictures, and she was very attractive at one time. That time has passed. Bruce Davidson, he's probably going to die within the next year, if he's not dead already. Because this was in 2012, and he looked
it was like 5
awful.
years ago now.
And Howard Hessman, he played the mayor, and he should have been the entire film, because Howard Hessman rules.
I just got done watching some WKRP before the show.
That's right. He was also in Police Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And headed a class.
Head of the class.
I do remember that as well. So it's amazing that you get, like, because Howard Hessman, Bruce Davidson, Sherilyn Fenn, they all have decent careers. Now, Danny Bonaducci, Barry Williams, they're jokes. Everybody knows it. But these three people have had decent careers, decent actors, and it was just a fucking shit show, the entire fucking movie.
Oddly, Alice Cooper never brought up this credit when you interviewed him.
No, I don't know why you would.
And if you'd like to see that video...
Ask him next time, Mike.
Go to eastcoasthorrorgroup.com and then go buy a shirt, you fucking bastards.
Oh, shit. You caught me unawares.
So, yeah, it was a tale older than time. Bigfoot fighting people. People fighting Bigfoot. And, at the end, the airstrike kills both Danny Bonaducci and Barry Williams and the Bigfoot.
Wow.
And they erected a statue in front of Mount Rushmore.
Oh my god, that's a spoiler.
For Danny Bonaducci and Barry Williams. It's now a national monument to go along with the president's faces on the hill.
All right, so why don't you tell us what I put in my prediction, and let's see.
So USA Today on the back of the cover gave its review was packed with blood, guts, horror, and a lot of laughs. They're completely incorrect, because there was no blood in the film. Every time the Bigfoot tore somebody apart, there was just no blood. There was no guts. There was no horror, and I didn't laugh once. So I'm going to give this movie a complete F for fucking terrible, fucking don't watch it, fucking garbage. Now, I'm assuming that this film is trying to be what Sharknado is.
Right.
But I think Sharknado's garbage. I don't understand watching a film that is made to be bad.
That is where I come down on it. Everybody always asks me, because I'm, the Jaws fan. Well, aren't you waiting to see Sharknado? And I'm like, no, I don't want to watch it. And now I found out one of my friends is in the latest one, so I'm gonna have to watch the goddamn thing. But I certainly don't have to watch the other films.
I mean, I think a lot of the older films, like from the 80s and 70s, we look at it and are bad, but they're campy and all that kind of stuff, but they weren't meant to be that way.
Yeah, they
trying
tried
to make serious films.
Yes.
But when you set out to make a shit film, I just don't get it. And this is another one. And did you hear that? That was the sound of that DVD or that Blu-ray hitting the floor. So,
a ritualistic killing right there. All right. Well, thanks so much, Mike. I guess it's my turn here. And I'm going to be taking a movie. This, I decided to take on the Friday the 13th movies. I knew I had not seen all the movies. So I decided, and I started about a month ago, every Friday, I'm watching another Friday the 13th film. And by every Friday, I mean like when I feel like it. So it's going to take a while. But I'm up to the final chapter, and I wanted to talk about this one. Because before I started watching it, I was certain I had never seen this one. I thought I never saw this particular one. Because I know I saw the first one and the second one and the third one. In fact, the third one I've actually have seen in 3D. But I don't remember seeing any of the others up until Manhattan and Space Camp. And I thought, oh, good, this will be great. And all I remember hearing about this one is the one with Corey Feldman in it. And I was shocked as the credits were going. I saw the name Crispin Glover in here. So I was like, oh, this might actually be a movie worth watching. So... and I was certain I had not seen it. And as the movie went on, things started to seem familiar. And I finally figured out that, yes, I had seen this particular Friday the 13th before. What I will say, it was very interesting to me to see Peter Barton, who... was making a TV show that I absolutely loved. Right about that time, he was the star of the movie or the TV show Powers of Matthew Starr, which I don't know how to explain it. It was like an alien with telekinetic powers teaming up with Louis Gossett Jr. on... in a TV show. It didn't even last, I think, a full season. But,
was that Enemy Mine?
No. It was a...
Don't fucking talk about Enemy Mine, asshole.
Okay.
It's about relations and love.
Okay. But it was kind of like a superhero
That's not what I said
show.
at all.
It was a superheroes show at the time when I was young enough to really get into that sort of thing. I will say this movie, you can really tell when it was made, not just because of the age of Corey Feldman that you see or Crispin Glover. It is the feathered hair they have. I mean, it just goes over the top with the 80s-ness to it. It does have the familiar trope of a hospital escape right at the top of the movie. But what's interesting, I was trying to think if this has happened before, but this actually is two cabins in the wood at the same time. Because you have the cabin in the wood where there's the horny teenagers, and then right next door is a family. And of course the family doesn't have a father figure. Of course it's, the single mother type thing. I'm like, that's both types of cabin in the wood movies. I can't believe you're letting me get away with saying cabin in the wood, Drew. I'm really trying to irritate you. What
it's
else?
Woods, asshole.
There we go. Thank you. There wasn't any real suspense. It was just murder up until the point where it's down to Tommy and Trish. at the very end. And most of that suspense is mostly okay, did they kill him or is he going to come back again? Did they kill him or is he going to come back again? So it really wasn't my type of thing. I like a little more suspense in there. I will say the murder of I'll say the red herring hero, the kind of guy that was with Trish that gets killed in the basement. And he's shouting out, "He's killing me! He's killing me!" Now, I heard in the theaters people laughed at that line, and I actually thought it was pretty interesting. I liked that particular murder because it felt a little creepy. He was just, he was kind of like the hero, and next thing you know, he is just being ripped apart. That was kind of creepy. So that was probably my favorite part of the whole movie, and from what I hear, everybody else hated that. Actually, I take that back. The best part of the movie is Crispin Glover dancing. When they put the music on and he just dances this hyperkinetic Crispin way, that was unbelievable. The other part about this movie that really irritated me, there was the guy that was watching silent movie porn, and he always trying to pick up one of the twins with a teddy bear. That guy was super annoying, and when you have a character that's that super annoying and eclipses Crispin Glover for weirdness, that is just amazing. And I really, he took me out of the movie completely. I will say, of the Friday the 13th movies I've seen, this is probably the most satisfying that I've seen of this series. But I'm not a real fan of the series, so it was disappointing to me once again. Now, Mike, I know you're kind of the Friday the 13th guy. Is this the best movie of the lot, or are there some I should be looking forward to?
No, I think this was definitely one of the better ones. It was the one that they brought Savini back for.
Oh, the effects were great. The effects were very good.
This was, I mean, obviously the name of it, but this was supposed to be the final one. As you saw, Corey Feldman killed Jason at the end. But the power of money kept calling. Now, I think this was the most well done of the Friday the 13th films as far as story goes, effects, everything. I think it's the complete package for Friday the 13th. Now, the final chapter. Okay, now, are you going to watch the next one, the fifth one?
I am planning to continue all the way to the bitter end, yes.
Okay, the next one that you're about to watch is probably the worst.
Oh, goody. Can't wait.
Yeah, the first and second one are really good. I have a hard time considering them Jason films because, I mean, when we think of Jason, we think of the hockey mask.
Right.
The third one I really enjoyed just because it's hokey. He gets his hockey mask in that film, so I think it's an important film. This one was supposed to be the end. Like I said, I think this is the full package.
Honestly, I think the third one reminds me the most of the reboot that was done, the Mirrors reboot. It's like it has the same atmosphere. It's kind of that feeling to it. So far, that's the one that if somebody said, what is a quintessential Friday the 13th, with the ones I've seen, I would say that's probably the one that kind of feels like what that series feels like to me.
Well, the problem with the Friday the 13th films is they got away from like the campers.
Yeah.
And the kids and that whole thing. Like it was always like, oh, we're at an abandoned house or we're at a house on a lake. It really got away from Camp Crystal Lake, and I never could really understand why they did that. I think they had a good formula there. I don't know why they needed to continually sort of change it up. as far as the camp setting goes. So the sixth one, I think, does the best job of going back to the roots of it being an actual camp.
Okay.
But the fifth one, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that, because that's a steaming pile of shit.
Well, I may not, and I'm not going to say ahead of time that I'm going to review them all on the show here, because frankly, I know there are some movies that I just give up on, and you never know. It might happen. As much as I feel like I need to see all these so that I can say I'm a good little horror fan, I may decide, because I'm not even a fan of these, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do, which brings me, of course, to the grade. And I've got so many things to cut here. Okay. My grade for the movie, I couldn't get over that there was no suspense. It was just, okay, gore shot, gore shot, gore shot. I have to give it a C+. That's the best I can give it. Now, if this is...
Well, they really didn't go for ever trying to really give you suspense.
Right. Right. And that's... See, and I felt in the Halloween movies, that was the thing I enjoyed about the Halloween movies, where they were more suspense-oriented. And when they got away from that with Halloween 5 and beyond, that's when I started checking out of Halloween. I think Halloween 4 is an excellent movie. I think Halloween 4 is often overlooked, but I think that's just a great movie. And a lot of that is done without blood and gore. It's a lot of suspense.
Are you forgetting?
That's not the one with Paul Rudd, is it?
No, that's 6.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
You're forgetting the one with Busta Rhymes, sir.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I mean, Halloween goes really bad. Really bad. I will say this for the Friday the 13th. So far, and I've seen Manhattan and I've seen Jason 10, the space one. I know those are often considered pretty bad in the list, but I don't think they're as bad as some of the Halloween movies. Some of the Halloween movies are just terrible.
Well, the Friday the 13th never really got away from what it was. It's just a slasher.
Yeah.
That's one thing that they've kept true with. But, to have, I think Halloween really fucked up in having one of the biggest moments in horror history of Michael Myers finally killing Laurie Strode in the same film that fucking Busta Rhymes is in.
Don't forget Tyra Banks.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Just fucking awful. Just absolutely terrible. Like, if I could go back in time, I actually saw that one Resurrection in the theater.
Oh, no.
Once Michael killed Laurie, I should have just walked the fuck out of the theater and been like, yep, that was the movie. That was it. It was 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Put your hands on my eyes.
When that one goes bad, it went really bad. It went really bad. Okay, so we've all done our reviews. It's time now for that favorite part. It's hype your stuff. We'll start with you, Drew. We have a special show coming up on Thursday, don't we?
They're all special, aren't they?
Well, they have you, and everybody saes you're special.
I think that you called me retarded just now.
I don't think I said that.
I prefer window liquor.
Whoa. That's just highly offensive.
Fuck you, Drew.
Fuck you, Autumn.
Drew,
Anyway.
what are you going to be talking about on Thursday?
I don't want to give too much away, but you're going to want to tune in on Thursday, just as you always want to tune in. We haven't really had a good Thursday show in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So,
Few
it's
things
good to have Mike back from vacation.
Yeah, things
And,
have lined up.
We're going to be taking over the airwaves on Thursday. So, stay tuned.
Okay, and of course, the name of the show is...
From Dust Till Con Radio.
There you go. All right, good job there. Mike, what's going on the website?
Speaking of Friday the 13th, as you just did, Tim, we just put out the Friday the 13th panel from Days of the Dead Indianapolis with C.J. Graham, Kane Hodder, Steve Dash, Adrian King, and Larry Zenner, who played Shelley in the third one. So go check that one out. We have one more panel to upload from Days of the Dead Indianapolis, and that will be the Day of the Dead panel with Laurie Cardell and Howard Sherman. And then we will be on full sites set on Days of the Dead Louisville, where we have
Louisville.
I'm not saying it like that.
Louisville.
I don't have sex with my cousins, so
Whoa!
Wow!
say that.
Attention, everyone that lives in Louisville, where we're going to be in just 10 days. Mike says you're all inbred.
Yes, I do, and you're more than welcome to come up and ask me to talk about that.
We
have a full schedule planned of events, panels, Hall of Fame, all that kind of stuff. So if you're in Louisville, Kentucky, and you're not having sex with your sister, stop on by.
Wow. So, okay, tell us a few of the panels that you're going to be hosting, Mike.
Kentucky.
What?
Mike, tell us some of the panels that you'll be hosting.
We're going to have a crow panel with the creator, James O'Barr. We're also going to have...
Good, dig up Brandon Lee and put him on stage.
He's already there, waiting.
He's there in his fucking casket.
You know, they sometimes decorate the stage. You might be able to do that.
It's true. I'll dance with this corpse right now.
Bailing is going to be on that panel. Ernie Hudson is going to be on that panel. Rochelle Davis is going to be on that panel, as well as, like I said, the creator, James O'Barr. We're also going to have a William Butler panel, who is an individual that might have been killed on screen more than anybody else in the horror universe.
He's from Dustin alumni.
He is. Ernie Hudson is also going to do a solo panel, so we're going to get to talk to him about Ghostbusters and Oz and such. Then we're going to have Tony Todd.
Grace and Frankie.
Yes, Grace and Frankie.
Gongo.
Then we're going to have Tony Todd
Amy
panel.
Loves. Amy.
Then we're going to obviously have a Sid panel and a Bill panel. And, there's some more shit. So, Friday the 13th Jason panel. We'll have a Jason that we have not interviewed before, and I don't know why he's there, but Warrington Gillette will be there as well. So, that'll be C.J. Graham, Warrington Gillette, and Kane Hodder.
Which movie did Warrington Gillette do?
He was in it. He was in the second one about 30 seconds, and then the director realized that he cannot do his own stunts. That's why they hired Steve Dash.
So Steve Dash is going to be there to make fun of him?
Sadly, no. Steve will not be there.
That's bullshit.
Oh man! Oh, that would have been great.
The Hall of Fame is P.J. Souls, and then George Romero will join Roddy Piper. I don't know how you say that when someone's dead.
Posthumously.
Posthumously. Yes. Okay.
When you become a corpse, then we'll induct you into the Hall of Fame. Whatever. So.
You think if I killed myself, I could get to the Hall of Fame?
Well,
I don't know. Let's find out.
Do is try.
Why don't you try?
Yeah, you really need to
Well,
give
guys,
that a
you're my
shot.
real friends.
We certainly are.
Thanks,
Ooh.
everyone. You know that girl got convicted for egging that guy on for killing himself just now, right?
Oh well.
I didn't egg anybody on. I just said that you could try.
You know, if you're a quitter, that's your own problem, Drew. All right, so we have come to the end of the program just in time. We hope to see you all in Louisville for Days of the Dead. Days of the Dead. And hope you join us Thursday for the From Dusk Till Con show. And we wish you all the best. Stay safe and despair, for all hope is gone. But the East Coast Horror Group just keeps coming.
That's what she said.
Shut your mouth, woman. I'm trying to have sex with my sister.
Please do not put this out until we get back from Louisville.
I'm going to put it out tonight.
Someone hand me my moonshine and my nephew.
I'm not helping you. I'm not helping you.
Reviews.
Okay. Okay.
Let's get shaky with it.
I like magical dongs.
It's got boobs.
I can deal with zombies. Fuck them.
As hard as my dick.
Like fucking dog.
I love dragons.
Did you just run your hand across the soundboard? Is that all you did?
I'm working hard over here. Working hard.
Slam his hand on his computer. Whatever comes out, it's fine.
East Coast Horror Group.
Whoa.